Most people have a breaking point, the moment when the pain becomes unbearable, the pressure becomes too much, and survival becomes more important than conviction. But over 1,400 years ago, one man proved that true faith cannot be broken. His body was crushed beneath a massive stone, his skin burned under the scorching Arabian sun. He was beaten, dragged through the streets, and offered freedom if he would only say a single sentence. He refused. Instead, he answered with just one word: Ahad. Why was that one word so powerful that the leaders of Makkah feared it more than an army? And how did a man born into slavery become one of the most honored companions in Islamic history? This is the incredible story of Bilal ibn Rabah. Long before Islam spread across Arabia, Bilal ibn Rabah was born into slavery in Makkah. His mother, Hamama, was an Abyssinian woman. From the day Bilal was born, his life belonged to someone else. He owned nothing, not even his own freedom. His master was Umayyah ibn Khalaf, one of Quraysh's wealthiest leaders. In Makkah, a slave had no rights, no honor, no protection. If the master became angry, the slave suffered. If the master demanded work, the slave obeyed. There was no escape. Then one day, something extraordinary began spreading through the streets of Makkah. A man named Muhammad, peace be upon him, was calling people to worship only Allah. No idols, no tribal superiority, no racism, no masters over slaves, only one creator. For Bilal, these words were unlike anything he had ever heard. For the first time in his life, someone was saying that every human being was equal before Allah, rich or poor, Arab or non-Arab, master or slave. Bilal listened, thought deeply, and accepted Islam, but his decision would cost him everything. When Umayyah discovered Bilal had become Muslim, he was furious. How could a slave reject the religion of his master? How could someone with no status stand against Quraysh? So Umayyah decided Bilal would become an example. Every afternoon, when the desert heat reached its peak, Bilal was dragged into the open. His clothes were removed until the burning sand touched his skin. His hands and feet were restrained. Then, a gigantic stone was placed upon his chest. The weight crushed his body. The heat scorched his back. Around him, the leaders of Quraysh laughed. People gathered to watch. They shouted, "Reject Muhammad, worship our gods, say one word, and this ends." Imagine that moment. Every breath hurts. Your body is breaking. No one comes to save you. What would you say? Bilal answered with only one word: Ahad. One. Then again. Ahad. One. Again. 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 Not complaints, not cries, not anger. Only Ahad. Ahad. That single word shook Makkah. News of Bilal's suffering spread among the Muslims. One companion couldn't bear it any longer. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. He walked directly to Umayyah. "I'll buy him." Umayyah laughed. He demanded an enormous price, far more than Bilal was worth as a slave. Abu Bakr didn't argue. He paid it immediately. Bilal was free. As they walked away, Umayyah mocked Abu Bakr. "You paid far too much." Abu Bakr replied with words history would never forget. "If you had asked for even more, I would have paid it." Because Abu Bakr wasn't buying a slave, he was honoring a believer. That moment marked the end of Bilal's slavery. But Allah had something even greater waiting for him. Years later, the Muslims entered Medina. Islam was growing. A question remained. How should believers be called to prayer? Different suggestions were made. Then Allah inspired the words of the Adhan through a dream shown to Abdullah ibn Zayd, which the Prophet, peace be upon him, approved. But who would recite it? The Prophet, peace be upon him, chose Bilal, the former slave, the man once tortured beneath the desert sun. The same voice once silenced by chains, now called an entire nation to prayer. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, 5 times every day. His voice echoed across Medina. The man once considered worthless by society became the first mu'adhdin of Islam. History had turned completely upside down, and then came the conquest of Makkah, the city where Bilal had been tortured, the city where he had been humiliated. Now, he climbed to the roof of the Kaaba itself. The same people who had once mocked him looked up as Bilal called the adhan over Makkah. Allah had honored the one they tried to break. Bilal's story isn't just about surviving torture, it's about what happens when faith becomes stronger than fear. Today, most of us may never face chains or burning desert sand, but we face different tests. The pressure to compromise our values, the fear of standing alone, the temptation to hide our faith. Bilal teaches us that true strength isn't found in muscles or wealth or status. It's found in knowing who you worship. The people who tortured Bilal are remembered only because of what they did to him. But Bilal is remembered because he never abandoned Allah. His chains disappeared, his wounds healed, but his faith still inspires hearts over 14 centuries later. So ask yourself, when life tests your faith, what will your answer be? Because history remembers those who remained firm. If this story inspired you, subscribe to FaithVerse for authentic Islamic stories that strengthen faith and bring Islamic history to life. And tell us in the comments, what lesson from Bilal's story touched your heart the most? Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.